I keep getting this question about what kind of gun should I buy. A lot of people are asking me this, and these are people that don't own guns usually. And the first question I give them is, so what are you going to use it for? And for the most part, they're not competition shooters, so they're not going to go out and spend thousands of dollars on a gun. They're going to use it for home defense and maybe going to the range every once in a while. So going to the range is pretty easy. If you're going to buy a gun for going to the range, get a 22. It's cheap. You're going to enjoy it. A lot more people can shoot it. The recoil is easy on all kinds of people. Children, females that aren't used to shooting, women, or just people in general that aren't used to shooting. But when it comes to home defense, I've even heard people say an AR-15. Well, suppose you did have to use your AR-15 in your home defense situation and you killed someone. How do you think it's going to look to a jury when the prosecution picks up your rifle that you used to kill somebody and it's one of these evil black guns? It's something to think about. Yeah, it'd be cool and all to have 30 rounds at your disposal, but to tell you the truth, this rifle was probably not your best choice. Also, since it is a rifle, you're having to wield it throughout your house. So the next question, the next thing I would think is a shotgun. A shotgun is a very good choice because you don't have to aim, but it's a long gun and it's going to be difficult to maneuver through your house. So to me, I would take out any kind of rifle and stick with just a pistol. And then you got to ask yourself, well, what kind of pistol? Well, yeah, I would think you want something not as complex as the 1911. And a lot of people say, well, the 1911 is not complex. Sure, if you're used to it and all, but suppose you're in the house, your wife or girlfriend or roommate doesn't shoot. They're not really familiar with guns. They've seen it on TV. People pick it up and they pull the trigger and they shoot. They're most likely not going to be able to operate something as complex as a 1911 in a situation where they might need it to work. So, what about the Beretta? Well, personally, I would stay away from anything with a decocker. These things here scare the crap out of me if you're not familiar with it. You can sit there and pull the trigger all day long and it won't work if it's on safety, if the decocker, and someone that's inexperienced with that type of gun is not going to be able to figure it out. So that rules out the decocker for me. A revolver is the best choice because a revolver anybody can pick up and anybody can just pull the trigger and shoot. But you only get 6 rounds. You're in your house. You woke up in the middle of the night. You're scared. You don't have no idea what's going on. You might not be the most accurate shot in the world when it comes down to it. So maybe you need yourself an automatic. The revolver's a very good choice. No safeties, no nothing. But how about a car, P9? This is just a 9mm, no safeties whatsoever, has an incredibly long trigger pull, but is very smooth. So when you pull the trigger on this, just like the revolver, you know you're pulling the trigger. So you're not going to have that accidental discharge. Then again, this is an expensive handgun, and it only holds 7 rounds. So my first choice for home defense would be a Glock. And the reason I say the Glock over the others is 17 rounds of 9mm. If you have a 40 caliber, it's even better. Or I mean, it's almost as better, but you have more stopping power. A Glock, a Glock with a rail on the front, because the last thing you want to be doing in the middle of the night is trying to figure out how to work your $20, $30 flashlight and holding your gun and perhaps even a cell phone or phone to call the cops. So I would recommend that the Glock or an XD or even some of the Rugers are probably your best choice. Anything with a rail, for that matter. I would argue that no safeties whatsoever on this particular gun. This gun right here, anybody in the house could pick up, including a child, so you have to watch out for that. And the gun will go off when you pull the trigger. Of course, that also, what if you have an inexperienced shooter and they limp wristed and the gun smokestacks? Well, they just got to deal with that. Personally, I would like to have a gun with a rail and a fixed mount and 17 rounds in the house as opposed to 6, like the revolver, and a flashlight in the other hand. So what gun do you think is the best and why? Do you disagree with my theory about the AR-15 and being judged with it? I'd like to hear your comments.